More than 550 bullets ripped through the deck of an American cargo ship in less than 3 minutes. 5 pirate ships closed in at 47 knots, each loaded with rocket-propelled grenades and heavy machine guns, firing furiously at a $275 million US-flagged cargo ship as if it were a carnival ride. September 12, 2025, off the lawless coast of Somalia, began like this. 60 Somali gunmen laughed, shot at stacks of cargo, and even tried to pry open a steel gate with a rocket-propelled grenade, certain they would demand ransom and kill. What they didn't see was a U.S. aircraft carrier lurking just 415 nautical miles away, launching drones, Apache helicopters, and 4 Black Hawks carrying nearly 60 elite commandos, determined to turn this pirate victory into a smoking graveyard. So what did the U.S. thermal camera capture on that pirate lair just hours later? And why did dozens of pirate lairs across East Africa go dark the next day? Stay tuned, because when you see how the United States reacts, you'll understand why no pirates dare point their rifles at American ships anymore. Exactly at 6:20 a.m., September 12, 2025, the harsh waters off Somalia have become a stage for brutal violence. A swarm of 5 pirate boats carrying at least 60 heavily armed Somali pirates swept through the raging waves at 47 nautical miles. The engines roared like jackals. Their eyes were fixed on a prize of incredible value. MV Redwood Star, a U.S.-flagged cargo ship, was transporting $275 million for high-tech industrial equipment aimed at Southeast Asia. On board the Redwood Star, there is 30 sailors, mostly Americans and Filipinos, under the command of a veteran 55-year-old captain from Galveston, Texas. They were well aware of the piracy threat in these waters, but nothing prepared them for the sheer audacity of this attack. The pirates brandished AK-47s, PK machine guns, and even RPG-7 grenade launchers, firing a cold volley of shells into the salty air, a brutal statement of their intentions. As the little boats close in below 220 yards, the crew took up defensive positions on the outer deck. Armed with gun shunting and some obsolete semi-automatic rifles, the ship fired back in controlled bursts. The hull shook with deafening gunfire. Shell casings clattered and rolled across the steel plates. Sailors fired from behind bulkheads and cargo containers, hoping to repel the attackers. But the pirates were seasoned sea killers. They lined up, machine guns firing. Bullets ricocheted from the deck winches and tore through the ropes. One crewman was hit in the shoulder and spun into the lifeboat cradle. Another barely escaped death when a PK round ripped splinters from a wooden pallet inches from his head. Realizing the hopeless imbalance of fire, the captain shouted over the ship's loudspeaker to order an immediate retreat. The crew abandoned their positions, dragging the wounded sailor with them, retreating deep into the bowels of the ship. They locked themselves inside. Fortified citadel, walls lined with hardened steel, powerful emergency oxygen system, flashing emergency satellite beacon. Above, the pirates piled onto the ship unhindered, shouting their victory, their boots clanging loudly on the empty deck of the Redwood Star. They believed they had won, but below, in a sealed room, the captain gripped the radio microphone with white knuckles and whispered a final coded message to the United States Navy. Mayday. This is the Redwood Star, under siege, crew safe, awaiting justice. Little did the pirates know that they had just entered the mouth of something much more terrible. What would you do if you were the captain locked in that steel room? Was his decision right or wrong? Let us know in the comments, like and subscribe to help us bring you the latest information. When the distress signal from the MV Redwood Star reached USS Independence, a massive American aircraft carrier moving 405 nautical miles east of Somalia, it caused an instant chill of fear on the bridge deck. The captain of the Redwood Star sent a stern message. Surrounded. Crew secured in stronghold. Immediate assistance required. That meant 30 American and Allied sailors were trapped, defenseless behind steel doors, while armed pirates roamed freely above them. If they didn't act quickly, the ship could become a slaughterhouse. The admiral on the Independence didn't hesitate. He nodded, and the carrier's massive engines roared into life. In 7 minutes, the flight deck is filled with precision. Year MH60. Seahawk helicopter armed with GAU-17 mini-machine guns mounted on the doors took off first, facing forward and pinpointing the Redwood Star's location. Right behind them, not Apache attack helicopter, armed with Hydra missiles and 30mm machine guns, take off to launch a fierce attack if needed. But the real punch comes later. 4 Black Hawk helicopter, each packed with about 60 Navy SEALs and Marines, fully equipped with body armor, NVGs, and M4 carbines ready to go. Their mission was clear: secure the deck, eliminate any pirate resistance, and reach the stronghold before it was breached. Back in the carrier's combat center, operators watched the live infrared feed from the drones scanning the cargo ship. The heat signature glowed brightly inside the fort, evidence that the crew was still holding out. A junior officer whispered, "They're alive, Bravery, but the pirates are closing in on the fort hatch." Every second counts. The carrier admiral leaned forward, his face as cold as stone. "Activate all assets." "No delay. Those are our men." Helicopters roared down from the deck and skimmed low over the waves, racing against time. On board, the SEAL team leader clutched his rifle and checked his radio. 20 years of trapped sailors were now counting on them, and he was determined to get them all home. What about you? Do you think these pirates stand a chance against American steel and training? Share your thoughts below, and let's see how fierce this fight will be. Exactly 7:12 a.m. The first American helicopter swept through the salty air above the MV Redwood Star. The deck was filled with chaos. More than a dozen pirates, heavily armed with AK-47s and PK machine guns, prowled the cargo holds, kicking down doors and firing volleys of bullets towards the superstructure, searching for a way into the citadel below. The lead Seahawk charged in, its gunners unleashing a terrifying barrage. 7.62mm ammunition from the twin-barreled GAU-17 mini-machine gun spray on 2,000 rounds in less than a minute. Bullets pierced steel crates and tore through the pirates' makeshift barricades. Stunned by the intense fire, the pirates scattered, some hiding behind winches, others sprawling on the deck, clutching their rifles. Seconds later, the Apaches arrived, hovering like silent executioners. One pirate foolish enough to run into the open was instantly cut down by a 30mm machine gun fire. His body flew backward in a cloud of red smoke. Another group of gunmen tried to regroup near the starboard crane, but a short rocket from an Apache helicopter obliterated their position, sending twisted steel raining down. Then the real storm hit. 4 Black Hawks roared overhead. The rope does not coil, and is close 60 Navy SEALs and Marines sliding down in disciplined waves. Within seconds, the Americans were in battle formation on the deck, rifles scanning, voices shouting stiff orders through headsets. The pirates tried to regroup, firing desperate volleys from behind a large stack of cargo crates. But the SEALs returned fire with terrifying precision. Dual faucet with control, each bullet hit a pirate in the chest or head. One pirate, supporting an RPG on the railing, was hit twice in the sternum before he could take aim. Another tried to hit an American soldier in the ribs and was hit by a burst of M4 bullets that knocked him to the ground. In just 6 minutes, the deck was safely secured. Ripe the pirate is dead, lying in a pool of blood that was spreading. 14. The man knelt down, weapon thrown aside, hands trembling on his head. Eyes filled with horror as the Americans approached them with drawstring handcuffs. A SEAL team commander gave a brief update over the radio. The deck is secured, no casualties. Preparing to break in and rescue the crew. It was sharp, it was ruthless, but above all, it was American. Where the pirates relied on wild gunfire and sheer audacity, the U.S. forces brought overwhelming firepower and training, coordination, and discipline. In less than 10 minutes, the Redwood Star was recaptured, and the once powerful Somali gunmen were reduced to corpses and shivering prisoners. Join me as we witness the U.S. military take down a pirate. Via 8:30 a.m. Only less than an hour after the Redwood Star was seized, the captured Somali pirates knelt on the deck of the USS Independence, their hands tied behind their backs, their eyes wide with fear. Under the scorching sun, 2 Navy interrogators toiled, assisted by interpreters and intelligence officers. Inside 25 minutes, the terrified prisoners revealed what the Navy needed: precise GPS coordinates for their coastal base. A cluster of barracks, fuel dumps, and weapons depots nestled against a rocky bay in Somalia, about 28 miles inland from the beach. The admiral did not hesitate. The order spread throughout the carrier's combat center. Almost immediately, a squadron of 4 MQ-9 Reaper drone, each person has a name Hellfire and GBU-12 laser-guided bombs, was diverted from patrol to attack the target. At the same time, a satellite scan confirmed the heat signatures. Approximately 45 to 50 armed men, several trucks and heat sources fit into the fuel tanks and hidden ammunition caches. In 9:04 a.m., the first drone fired. A Hellfire missile swooped down at nearly 1,000 miles per hour, smashing straight into the largest tent. The explosion ripped through the camp, sending fireballs and debris 60 meters into the air. Secondary explosions immediately followed as the stockpiled ammunition ignited, one after another, a chain reaction that turned the pirate base into a fiery graveyard. In the coming year, minute for the Reaper, the bombs were dropped with pinpoint accuracy. The Independence's infrared video feeds flashed as small huts, machine gun trucks, and rows of docked boats exploded under the impact. One bomb found a hidden cache of RPGs, causing a massive explosion that sent scorched debris flying for half a mile across the scrubland. Via 10:12 a.m., the pirate stronghold has been reduced to smoke craters and scattered rubble. Naval analysts estimate more than 85% of the pirates' fighting force and equipment were destroyed in less than 10 minutes. Not a single American plane came within range of the rifles. All were remotely controlled by eye and deadly precision-guided weapons. "They'll think twice before they look at another American ship again," muttered a SEAL watching the drone's live feed. Another just nodded, still clutching his rifle, as black columns of burning diesel smoke billowed into the morning sky. No more protracted, messy gun battles, no more American lives at stake. Just overwhelming reach, technology, and determination. The pirates who had terrorized these waters for years saw their empire wiped out in minutes, a message written in fire and steel across the Somali coast, ensuring that every surviving pirate knew who ruled the seas. The destruction of the pirate base sent shockwaves up and down the Somali coast, echoing through the radios of every smuggler. Within hours, intercepts revealed panic. Pirate gangs who had brazenly boasted of seizing American ships now ordered their skiffs towed ashore, stripped their engines, and buried their fuel tanks. They watched entire compounds, men, and assets vanish in less than 10 minutes, all without a single American shoe touching their sand. Satellite imagery over the next 72 hours confirmed it. Usually bustling pirate anchorages were deserted, piers were deserted, and suspicious vessels were staying away from trade routes. Where the Indian Ocean had once teemed with small gangs of ransom seekers, there was now nothing but vast, unimpeded waters. The sudden drop was so dramatic that shipping insurers noted it in their global risk bulletins within days. Meanwhile, the USS Independence remained in position with the carrier strike group, alternating between patrols with Seahawks and reconnaissance flights with drones. Each passing American warship or the shadow of a drone in the sky was enough to scare away any remaining pirate vessels. The pirates knew what would come next. Satellites overhead, Reapers circling just out of sight, and, if necessary, a hail of steel they could neither see nor escape. A retired admiral speaking to a small group of naval strategists in Norfolk summed it up best. No need for months of expensive escorts. One strong strike without hesitation re-established the rule. From now on, pirates will no longer calculate ransoms. They will calculate how fast they can escape. For the 30 crew members of the Redwood Star, the nightmare was over. For every pirate along that devastated shore, the message remained etched in the sand and ash. Threatening American lives was no longer a gamble. It was a guarantee of destruction. In less than a morning, the U.S. Navy and its elite forces dismantled a piracy operation that had been years in the making. What began with a brazen attack on an American merchant ship ended with smoldering wreckage on the Somali coast and a shattered criminal network now too afraid to approach the shipping lanes. For 30 Redwood Start crew, their escape from the safety of the Citadel and their first breath of fresh air on deck was more than just survival. It was a testament to the promise of America. When they called for help, that help came not with hesitation or bureaucratic formality, but with the full weight of a superpower's fury, delivered with unparalleled precision. Rumors of the raid spread across the region faster than the wind. Pirates pulled their ships inland, families fled notorious coastal hideouts, and aging smuggling bosses fell silent.